Good morning. I want to talk this morning about finding hope in hard places. And there is no mistaking we are in some difficult moments and times. In fact, I believe this country is in a fight for its very soul. You saw what unfolded in this nation in 2020 as protests were unleashed all across the country in response to the tragic murders of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and right here in Louisville over the murder of Breonna Taylor. You saw what happened on the Capitol in January, at the beginning of 2021. Following that, continuing attack on voting rights for African Americans. Roe v. Wade has been overturned. The country refuses to change how it teaches history in our public schools. And we even see our workforce disenchanted and refusing to re-engage our economy. None of this should surprise you because Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. warned America about these very things in 1967 and 68. In a famous sermon he preached on the three great evils of American society, he talked about the evils of racism, poverty, and militarism. In an essay published after his assassination titled "Showdown for Nonviolence," King said these words, and I quote, "White America has allowed itself to be indifferent to race prejudice and economic denial. The urban outbreaks are now a fire bell in the night, clamorously warning that the seams of our entire social order are weakening under the strains of neglect. The American people are infected with racism, and that is the peril." In his final book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community, he said these words, "One cannot hope but to keep people locked out of the earthly kingdom of wealth, health, and happiness. Either they share in the blessings of the world or they organize to break down and overthrow those structures or governments which stand in the way of their goals. This is a treacherous foundation for a world house. Racism can well be the corrosive evil that will bring down the curtain on Western civilization." King warned us about this. And this. And if you look deeper into this moment, I think this moment provides a mirror of sorts to the kind of nation we have become. I think this moment tells us about a real crisis of imagination and the stories we tell ourselves. But if you look deeper, you also see the sacred stories of the Bible being weaponized to exclude, to marginalize, to exploit, and to justify violence against people who are different. I believe in 2008, the most significant event in the 21st century happened, at least in this country, and that was the election of an African American to the highest office in the land. When Obama became the president, forces were unleashed in this country that we are continuing to feel this very day. And what is so sad and also very revealing about what happened in this country ever since those days is you see how religion contorted and distorted itself to justify all the hate, vitriol, and ugliness unleashed onto the landscape of our nation. But if you also look deeper, there are signs of hope. I saw it in the protests where you see masses of white and black Americans demonstrating righteous indignation over the unjust killings of black Americans. Now, sure, you could focus on some windows were broken and some businesses were harmed, but I see signs of hope, that people can differentiate right from wrong, and they can call out institutions for their apathy and their silence. And so this morning I want to speak into the hope that I see, hope that's even evident in seeing so many high school students here in this auditorium on a Thursday morning. And so I come bearing gifts, a gift for my sisters and brothers in the Black church, in the Black community, a gift for how we engage with the Bible, a text that has a complicated history with our people. I want to share two resources with you. Alan Callahan's book, The Talking Book, great book if you want to examine the history of African American engagement with the Bible. Vincent Wimbush authored a nice, easy read for you, sort of summarizing the history of African Americans and their engagement with Scripture. A couple notable things you'll find is that Black Americans were introduced to the Bible as enslaved persons at the hands of people confessing to be Christians, claiming to organize their faith around the teachings and the stories of the Bible. These resources will also teach you that African Americans use the Bible as a language world, which is why the language of Scripture not only inundates our churches, but pervades culture, in our music, in literature. Echoes of Scripture abound everywhere in the Black community. You'll also find that African Americans realize that the Bible can give mixed messages, that this book contains moral contradictions. You know, the same book that says, "Let my people go," is also the same book that says, "Slaves, obey your masters." And so what African Americans did is they made an interesting turn. Instead of discarding the book, they learned how to critically wrestle with the book, wrestle with the stories of the Bible. Because, of course, like so many young people, whether millennials, Gen Z, or the millions of Americans who no longer attend churches, we have a complicated relationship with the sacred text. And so Black people learn to do two things that I want to introduce to you. I think the first thing a lot of people in our culture are kind of good at doing, and that's correcting and exposing when the Bible is being misused or wrongly appropriated. But there's more to the Black tradition than just exposing the misuse of the Bible, but the wonderful ways we learn how to appropriate stories to speak a word of meaning and hope to our existential reality. And this is some of what feeds my work. I want you to keep an eye out this spring for my new book, The Bible in the Ashes of Social Chaos, and then go to the bookstore and buy up my companion to Philemon, and I'll be right at the table waiting to sign it. Because what this work symbolizes is that there's some stories, there's some passages, some text in the Bible that are a bit problematic. The Bible says more than just love your neighbor. It says things like, "Slaves, obey your master." The letter to Philemon was used during the antebellum period to discourage slave flight. In fact, it led to the passing of the Fugitive Slave Act. And in that very letter that was used to disenfranchise our people, I reread that letter in a way that speaks a word of critique and hope. So how do you find hope in hard places, grappling with a text that can send mixed moral messages? My work tries to demonstrate these three things: that you can respect the Bible as a sacred text, while also being honest about things that are being said in there, about killing people, enslaving people, relegating women to subordinate status. You can be honest about that. And then you can go to some of those stories and actually read them in different ways. And so I think at the end of the day, that's the gift that I want to offer to our sisters and brothers who feel a little disenchanted with institutionalized religion. I share their disgust and disenchantment. But as I look deep into culture, I see signs of hope. And I'm writing to those people who have a fundamental sense of right and wrong, and who believes that we can do better than we have done in the past, and want to appropriate stories in a way that helps us to build a better nation. I am looking forward to having conversations about ways we can find hope in these hard places. Thank you.